the Nigerian national rugby team, the Black Stallions. Now that is a name that inspires, right? Really strong name. Well, they marked their first tournament appearance since 2019 at the Rugby 15s with a 34-10 loss to host Tunisia at the ongoing Africa Cup. Now, the return of the Black Stallions ended a 5-year hiatus caused by a mix of challenges, including World Rugby ban and also internal disputes. But we now hear that everything has been resolved, and the Nigeria Rugby Federation is hoping to engineer and fast-track Nigeria's place among Africa's rugby elite. Well, in the other match of the day, Zambia defeated Ghana 31-22. The Stallions will now face Ghana on the 22nd of December in the playoffs, while Tunisia will go up against Zambia in the final on the 22nd of December as well. Well, joining us now all the way from Manchester in the United Kingdom is a former captain of the Black Stallions. He's played extensively with the team before, but he's now retired and he's watching with keen interest everything that has happened right there in Manchester. Godwin Dina Otoro Jr., thank you so much for your time tonight on Game On. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. It's always interesting to have an ex-international who can pretty much break it down for us. I just want to ask, did you watch today's game against Tunisia? And what did you make of Nigeria's performance? It's the first time in 5 years that we are back to the 15s format, but what did you make of the performance?
Yeah, I watched the match closely, and I saw a lot of work to be done, really. But from what the boys did, they tried because they had limited times, like to come together, and limited times to have training section. You know, like when you want to play a top-flight game like international competitions, normally they're supposed to be in camp for more time so that the new players can get used to one another and show that expertise on the pitch before even the tournament. But they tried with their outing today, but there are a lot of things to work on, especially in the scrum, because for me, the melee is the most important part of the game. You know, if the scrum is solid, then I think they can go far than the way they did today, but they tried besides.
Okay, well, this team, according to the general manager, Aziz Ladipo, is composed of 40% of players who are based in Nigeria and 60% of players who are based abroad. Now, there are those who believe that the level of competition in Nigeria is not sufficient enough to compete at the highest level in Africa, and that we should base, for now, or according to them, we should base Nigeria's rugby ambitions on players who are born, raised, trained, and play in foreign competitions like, like in England where you're based, in Europe as well.
Yes.
Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I agree with him partially, but still, we need boys home so that they can play for the game to grow. But everything has to do with, let me say, the fundings. And they need to improve on the league, especially, you know, just like even the federal government, they always put money in football. But if you notice, our league is even going down when it comes to even football. So there are a lot of work to be done. But most of the guys, like in Europe or America, they have the opportunity to all the amenities they need and equipment for training, and more so on the pitch of play, you know, all the things that are necessary for the games.
Well, Godwin, you and I are actually we're actually in the same rugby group, and I do recall a lot of people who watched this game today. They were complaining that the Nigerian players were smaller than their opposition. I don't know where that came from, because I saw some pretty hefty, probably big-sized, defensive players in that team as well. And you wrote something very, very interesting. According to you, you wrote rugby forward packs typically consist of 8 players in the scrum, the front 2 props and hooker, the second row 2 locks, and the back row 2 flankers and number 8. I also gave minimum size and weight requirements for each player, from each for each particular position, from props to hookers to locks to flankers, number 8. And you said overall the combined weight of the forward pack can range from approximately 770 to 820 kilograms, but these numbers can vary. And I thought that particularly interesting. So, in your opinion, what is wrong with the size of this team as it currently is composed? Is it too small to compete at international level?
Partially because everything has to depend on the kind of level you want to play. If you, for example, if you look at the Springboks, you look at the All Blacks or the Welsh or Scottish,
Big men.
and when it comes to the forward pack, it's very important and fundamental with the sizes of the men, because with the sizes, then you have more weight to push, especially with good techniques also, because it's more than just having the weight, but it's very important to be heavy when it comes to the forward pack. You know, like my days when I was playing, at least I was between 118 to 130 kilogram.
118 to 120 kilos.
Yes, because even most of the people I played with, even when I played in Serie A in Italy, there are some boys that are up to 135 kilograms. So you can imagine if a guy that has 130 kilogram wants to compete with a guy of like 100 kilo or 90 kilogram to push, it's going to be war. Because they're going to ride through you like a hot knife through the butter.
True, definitely a mismatch. But you look at the economic situations in Nigeria right now, the ability to eat heavy and in order to get the required weight and size that you mentioned quite clearly, it's not the easiest thing to do right now. So does that go back to probably getting those players from abroad who nutrition is not their problem? Should we continue to look at that for now, right? Until maybe do I say economic conditions improve in Nigeria?
Yes, partially, like you said. But I remember when I played, there were a lot of guys that they were even more skinny than these guys in this team. But what we did was that myself and one other guy called Rick Ngwara, we did all the best we could because we're technically okay and we have the exposure and the experience. So we used all that we had, and good. Everything has to do with them, like having that feelings together, because if you don't train together for a long time, it's going to be difficult. It's more than just the size, but working together, trying to understand themselves, making the right calls, knowing when to attack or when to defend, and even when you defend, you need to stay attack. So, but some of the guys back home, they are physically okay, but they just need to improve on like their body weight.
Probably
because at that level, if you want to compete on international level, believe me, if you meet a man with 120 kilograms and he's coming with you with a very high speed, he's going to hit you like a truck hitting a 504 car.
Hey, not even 504.
It's going to be a big time smashing.
Udoka, you have a question?
Yeah, of course, Godwin. Now, we've seen these guys play against Tunisia, host nation, and we've lost our first game. Going into our second game, do you think Nigeria stands a chance? I know we're not going there to compete, or rather to win the tournament, because, I mean, after
First
5
time
years...
back, in 5 years.
So we'll give them their flowers for even going in the first place. But their second game, do you think we stand a chance?
Yeah, I believe apparently we stand a chance at the second game because I think we're playing Ghana. So it's not, we've played Ghana before, and the boys stand a chance because we have a lot of guys amongst the team that plays in America, Europe, and Tunisia have the home advantage also, and the pressure was on Nigeria because they have everything to lose. So, and most of the Tunisian boys, they play in Europe also. Some of them play in France, and their league is quite different from ours. And, because our league is not like working well, so that's the problem. But I believe with Ghana, we can give them a good fight.
Okay, finally, Godwin, before we let you go, Nigeria has returned to the 15s format of international rugby, long awaited, right? Over the last few years, we've been doing quite a lot in developing the sevens. Do we need to sacrifice one in order for the other to progress? Just the same way that the Kenyans are pretty much putting everything into sevens rugby. Do we need to do that in order to get to the level that we require, or can we possibly develop both formats, both the 15s and the sevens?
In my opinion, we need to develop the both format because if you want to talk about the world ranking, you have to. We normally they use the 15 for the world ranking, but like rugby 7 is also good, like to bring the exposure, and it has a short time limit also for 7 minutes first half, 7 minutes second half. But the 15 is more. It's more dynamic, in my opinion, and I'm a 15
more dynamic.
So,
really?
Yeah, so I go for 15s more, to invest more 15, and 15 has to do with to involve more people, just like those little boys you call Ajebota, right? Those fat, young, chubby boys, they can play rugby, but they cannot play football, soccer. That's the difference, and sevens also. So they should invest in both, and everything has to do with funding. So if you give me the chance to use opportunity, I want to call on business firms and all those banks and even the Ministry of Sport to look more into rugby, to make more investment on the board because they deserve that chance and the opportunity for the game to grow.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking with the former captain of the Black Stallions of Nigeria, Nigeria's men's rugby national team, Godwin Dina Otoro Jr., all the way from Manchester in the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for your time. It's been very illuminating, and hopefully we'll be hoping to get you back on the show later as we continue to look forward to Nigeria basically rising up the African rugby ranks again. But thank you so much for your time, Godwin.